Hey everybody, welcome back to the PD Rest channel. Today we're going to take a look at the ARCA car at Worldwide Technology Raceway, otherwise known as Gateway. I may accidentally call it Gateway a couple times just because that's what I'm used to, and Worldwide Technology doesn't really roll off the tongue very well for me. But either way, here we are. And sorry for the delay and for the break. Don't worry, more iRacing content will be coming back. I just haven't really been racing a lot. I took a couple weeks off. I really burned myself out trying so hard with Road to Pro, and I'm not doing that anymore. It wasn't going too well, and I was kind of getting too frustrated and wasn't having any fun with it, so decided to take a step back from my racing, kind of refocus and come back into it with the mindset of just trying to have a good time again, and it's been a lot more fun that way. I'm glad I did that. And before we get into the guide, I do want to announce a new series that I'm going to be doing that hopefully some of you are interested in that will be on this channel. Um, the new MotoGP game will be coming out, and I figured why not? I'll try to do a career mode series in it and see if anybody enjoys watching that. I'm actually having a good time playing MotoGP 20. It was on Xbox Game Pass, and I downloaded it and actually found that I really liked it quite a bit and wanted to have some fun with it. I know this is mostly an iRacing, sim racing kind of channel, but I figured it couldn't hurt to broaden the horizons a little bit and kind of play around and see if we can have fun with a couple other types of series. So, with all of that kind of out of the way, you know the drill. Let's get into taking a look at this track map here. Um, Worldwide Technology Raceway is kind of a funny shape. It kind of looks like a belt off of an engine. But that is actually part of what makes the track so fun. That the two corners of the track are completely different from each other. So into turn one, you can carry a decent bit of speed, but it's a heavier braking zone. And although you don't have to worry too much about the car getting too loose, it does tend to feel very tight on your corner entry. One thing to note about turns one and two is that it's one of those kind of progressive uh, banked corners where the bottom lane doesn't have as much banking as the second and third lanes do. So if you transition over that coming out of the corner, like let's say you take a lower line and you're on the bottom of turn one and kind of driving up the track as you're trying to exit turn two, then you might find that the car is going to get pretty loose under power as you hit that transition zone. I find for me it works best to brake pretty hard, but then let the car roll into the corner and stay in that second or third groove. As the race goes on, as the tires wear out, you can kind of diamond off that corner a little bit. So you can let the car ride up a little bit more in the center and get it turned down for the straightaway and for the exit of turn two. That seems to work pretty well. But I don't like to run that bottom line because I don't like how loose the car gets under power. So then you've got this nice long straightaway heading to turn three. And one of turn three's defining characteristics is that there's a crest right before you get into the corner. So the car is going to have this moment where it goes up the hill, so you feel like you have a little bit more grip, and then it's going to go down the crest and it's going to have less grip. So because of that, you're going to want to get the car pointed before you really get into the corner. Otherwise, it just kind of slides off towards the wall and it understeers really badly and it's hard to get it back under you. So with that, mostly what you're going to feel in that part of the track is the car's going to feel loose as it goes over that crest. It's going to land into the track and then transition to feeling a little bit tighter. You're going to feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on that right front. And then as you get back to power, it's going to transfer the weight towards more of the rear of the car, and then you're going to be putting a lot more pressure on that right rear as you power out of the corner. You do have to get back to the throttle hard enough to keep the rear of the car wanting to rotate around, but not so much that you start kind of spinning out or drifting out of the corner, because that just destroys the right rear and your exit speed all the way down the front stretch. So it's a balancing act between figuring out where your steering should be and where your foot should be on the throttle pedal. But that's part of what makes this track so fun, is that certain drivers might be better at one end than the other, And the difference between the two is night and day, so you can make up time in one section of track versus the other. And you can also experiment around quite a bit. So just to elaborate on that, in turns 1 and 2, like we've said already, you can kind of square off that corner. Some people call that diamonding the corner, where you go in, you let the car ride up just a little bit, like maybe half a lane, and you slow the car down enough to get it to cut down so that you can make effectively that straightaway longer coming out of the corner. That's one thing you can do. In turn 3 and 4, it's a little bit more challenging to get that to work because the car wants to get looser under power in this section of the track. So I tend to stick down towards that red and white curb down there, and you don't want to actually touch it because it will make the car very loose if you touch it coming out of the corner. So get right down as close as you can to it, but don't quite use that curb. It doesn't really work very well. Okay, so let's talk steering ratio and brake bias. I like using the 14-to-1 ratio. 12-to-1 could work too if you've got kind of quicker hands. I don't know how well 16 would work, 16-to-1. I found 14-to-1 to be the sweet spot. It gives me enough control in turns 3 and 4 to where I can really put the car on edge, but it lets me turn the wheel fast enough in turn 1 and 2 to where I can really put the car where I want it, so it's a good middle ground. And for brake bias, I liked running 64% front brake, and I did not change it throughout the course of my races because the car stayed feeling pretty decent. I didn't feel like I needed to change it one way or the other. A lot of your tire saving is going to come down to how you use your foot more than your brake. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a look at the fast qualifying lap, and then we will do our slow motion talk about it right after that. Driving it off the corner, we come across the line to set a 31.184. I was pretty happy with that one. I'm sure there's more time to be had, but I was pretty happy with that lap. So to start your qualifying lap, you want to stay either hold this line or you can start up top and kind of run your way down and make the straightaway longer. This particular lap, it happened to work out where I crossed the start-finish line with about the same speed either way at about 155. So you're going to be hitting the rev limiter down this straight. It's going to happen. This caution light that we're passing right now, that's about where you want to start your turn in. So have a medium brake pressure. Get the car slowed down, but have most of your braking done as you dive into the corner. You can see that we slowly come off of the brakes, and we hook up with this darker line in the track with our left sides. That's the transition between the less banking in the lower lane and the more banking in the second and third groove. We do downshift here, so we'll play this clip back at full speed so you can listen for that downshift. But you want to do that in about the slowest part of the corner so you don't upset the car too badly. And then once you roll through, start playing with the throttle. Try to get as much throttle as you can. The rear of the car is going to kick out just a little bit, but find that point where you can hold it and really sling the car out. So here, listen for the downshift right there. And if you need to play that back, feel free. But that's about where you want to do your downshift throughout the entire race. So then you'll have a good run out of turn 2 down into turn 3. Once again, looking for the caution light. That's about where you start your turn in. Light brakes, and here's the crest I was telling you about. So you can see the car kind of dive down, and it settles into the corner right about here. That's where it kind of transitions from feeling loose to tight again. So this section, it kind of feels neutral. You're off of the brakes and you're letting the car roll through this middle. And be patient with it. Don't keep adding steering wheel. Just be patient with the car. And then once you feel it kind of want to change direction, then start throttling it up. So this is your transition period where you're not relying on the right front, but you're relying on the right rear more to get you through the corner. and then you'll have to play with your throttle and steering to try to find that slip angle to where the rear of the car is cooperating with you and it's still turning, but not quite sliding out from under you. So once you figure that angle out, you can really fire it out of this corner and slingshot yourself out for a good run. So now I want to show some of the other characteristics of the track. I want to show you the difference between using the bottom of 1 and 2 versus using the second lane that we normally do. So in this lap we use the bottom, and the gyro cam is really good to see the angle that the car is sitting at. So you can see we go down and the car right here kind of flattens out a little bit, and then it climbs up and gains that angle back, and that's when the car kind of snaps loose on you. So in this next clip we're going to talk about missing the entry of turn 3. So we kind of talked about that crest, and from the outside view you can really see it well. See, we got the angle wrong and we turned in too late, and if you do that as you come down back onto the track, there's just no grip and the car shoots up into the dirty part of the track. You get in the marbles and it's hard to get a good exit. So there you have it. That is pretty much all the tips for Worldwide Technology Raceway. A quick recap would be turns 1 and 2, the banking is different between the top and the bottom. The bottom has less banking, so the car will get loose as it climbs into that second and third lane. If you're uncomfortable with that, then go ahead and ride that second lane up, or maybe even square off that corner a little bit and turn down and see if that works, if you can get a run that way. Turn 3 and 4, it's pretty good to hug that bottom line. Make sure that you get the car pointed right as you come over that crest into the corner, and just kind of roll it through and be patient with it, and then get back to the gas and find your point where you can get the car turned and the rear end is kind of slipping around with you but not drifting and not coming out from under you. Steering ratio 14:1, maybe 12:1, and brake bias roughly 64. Play with that a little bit and see what you like. Thank you all so much for being here for another track guide and a video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some more tricks for the track. I hope to see you out there in a race. Let me know how your race week is going. Are you enjoying Talladega with the new drafting package that I still don't understand? So any tips you can give me would be nice. Are you enjoying ARCA this week? What are you racing? So let me know. I always like to hear from you. And take care. I will see you all in the next video.